What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Brody here. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the changes that are happening with grading turnaround times and just some of the changes PSA has made in the last week and a half to grading services and the costs and how that's going to impact people sending via Hong Kong. So this is primarily if you're currently grading yourself from Australia through Hong Kong to get to PSA in the US. If you're using a middleman or anything right now, this isn't going to be as useful context, but it is useful to understand some of the things that are happening if you are doing it yourself. I have been doing grading myself for the longest time until last year when the tariff stuff happened. And then I started using a dealer. I've been using Greg at PGCG, which I'll link his website down in the comments. I've been using him for a lot of grading, so I've sort of been going in between doing it myself and doing it with Greg. And more recently, since these changes, probably going to be using Greg a little bit more frequently just due to some of these and how these are going to impact the cost of grading cards and the length of turnaround and stuff. So last week or the week before, PSA announced a additional $200 million infrastructure investment to support the global demand. So obviously, if you haven't been living under a rock, PSA has been consistently, having issues keeping up with the demand from collectors, from investors, from flippers, from people trying to create, those power packs to everything to do with grading cards at the moment. So in this article, and I'll link the article in the description of the video too, you'll see there's a really good graph which shows the submitted units or submitted quantity of cards or product or things people are grading versus the graded units. And you can just see that the submitted supply continually is outpacing their ability to turn those graded items around. So they've obviously back in, I think it was March or February, they took away bulk, TCG bulk altogether for like collectors club members, and they also increased the turnaround times. In this article, they're also talking about increases in turnaround times as well, so I will go through that. One of the key things around the investment, I think, is that this won't sort of happen in the next 6 months. We won't really see this come to fruition for the next 12 to 18 months. We don't really see that impact and improve turnaround time. So for the next little while, there is going to be issues or delays, not so much issues, but delays with getting your cards back from PSA. So that's just something else to note. So with the service level update, so what's really important? So I said TCG bulk was gone in March. Now value bulk is sort of the next step up. And that service level they're now saying that their estimated turnaround time, and remember the turnaround time is from when it's received to when they complete the grading process. So that doesn't include the shipping. They're saying it's 140 to 160 business days. So that actually works out at the maximum to 8 months turnaround time on the value bulk submissions. So I know when I grade with Greg, that was previously, I think, 4 or 5 months, and that's sort of what we were seeing consistently was 4 to 5 months turnaround, or 3 to 5 months maybe. But now to push it out to 8 months, you can really tell that they're having issues with keeping up. And I wouldn't be surprised if they increase prices again before this is all over, because I just don't think they're going to be able to stop the amount of cards that are coming in without increasing prices or just closing up shop. So what that does mean for you if you are submitting is that expect longer turnaround times to PSA, whether or not you're using a dealer or if you're doing it yourself. So one thing I would recommend, if you have got high value cards, that you are sending them at a higher tier. And I would also recommend doing it through a dealer, because you can send one or two cards through a dealer and not have to worry about the postage cost of getting it back from PSA, if that makes sense, because when you do have like that return FedEx cost, whereas if you're sending it to a middleman in Australia, you might only be paying like $10 or $15 postage there and back, whereas when you get it back from PSA, I think it could be up to $130 return shipping, just what the cost is. So sending, if you have high value cards, I recommend sending them at a higher tier, because if you send them at a lower tier, at the end of the day, if you wait 8 months for those cards to come back, they're still going to upcharge from an insurance to get the cards back to you. So you're better off just sending them in the fastest tier at the start, and then you're able to get them back sooner. And whether or not you're keeping them or you're planning to like capitalize on that and sell them into the market, it's just a lot smarter move. And it's something that I've learned especially in this period of time, that it's actually smarter just to send them at the higher tier and get them back sooner, pay the fee, because you're going to have to pay it anyway, but you're not going to get that quick service if you are sending at bulk. You're just going to be paying $50, say, for bulk, and then at the end of the 8 months, then they upcharge you, whereas you could just send it, pay the $150, and then you get it back quicker as well. So I hope that makes sense. The other thing to note is that the Collectors Club threshold for the value bulk, so previously you could send I think it was minimum 20 cards. And so for Australians submitting via Hong Kong, that was okay because it would come under the $1,000 AED custom charges. So at the moment, I think once you sort of send over 24 or 25 cards via Hong Kong, when it comes back through, you're probably going to get a customs charge because the value of the submission will be over $1,000. So now what they're saying is for the value bulk submissions, they have to be a minimum of 50 cards. So what that means is that you're sending 50 cards over at a minimum to PSA to grade yourself through Hong Kong. And when that comes back, you're definitely going to get the customs charges like Australian government is going to charge you because the value of that service that you have got from PSA is worth more than $1,000 Australian dollars. Usually it doesn't end up being too much more dollars per card. It could be, I can't remember the formula they use, but there is a formula for working out what that is. I'll try to find it and maybe put it in the comments of the video if I can remember. But that's something else to be aware of. And so again, this is pushing you more towards using a middleman or a dealer. It makes it a lot more useful if you just want to send 10 cards at a time or 20. The flexibility in being able to sending 1 to however many cards you want to a dealer, as opposed to having to send a minimum of 50 cards this way. It makes the dealer process a lot more useful and a lot more beneficial, especially when you're only sending a small amount of cards. So that's sort of the summary of what I wanted to talk about. Basically to say that the service level update turnaround time is a lot longer now. So if you have more high value cards, to probably send them at a higher tier. And then the second thing is to take note of the custom charges you might be facing because you've got to send a minimum of 50 cards now via Hong Kong. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about grading from Australia or grading with a middleman or recommendations, just anything, you can just hit me up in the comments below. It's Brody Plays, or you can message me on Instagram. It's Brody Plays Pokemon, and I'll get back to you because it'll end up in my inbox somewhere. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.